Hey, friends, you are in for such a treat on the podcast today. So, today I'm talking to Anthony O'Neill on the podcast. I met Anthony at the Wellspring Mastermind that I belonged to last year. And this is guy, he's just a force to be reckoned with. He worked for the Ramsey Corporation for years and years. He is now on his own, a #1 best-selling author with another book getting ready to be published. He's a personal finance expert, the host of the podcast and YouTube show called The Table. And by the way, in 2023, that show received 21 million views and over 5 million downloads. You guys, that's huge. That is huge. And the whole time he's trying to empower people to have financial success. So he equips people to live debt-free, to break generational wealth gaps, and to build true wealth. He's been on Good Morning America live with Kelly and Mark. He's been on Fox and Friends, Rachel Ray. I mean, the list of TV shows is pretty lengthy. He speaks a lot. He's been recognized by Black Enterprise as the top 40 under 40 in 2023 and the top 25 personal and professional development influencers by Success Magazine. And we have the honor of having him here today. So Anthony and I discuss some hard topics. We talk about getting a little bit older, and I'm way older than he is, by the way, but just the disappointment that comes with maybe being where you didn't think that you would be. We talk about, following God's direction, even when it's hard. We talk about mental health a lot and therapy a lot. And he even prays for entrepreneurs and the people that are trying to start their own businesses at the end of this podcast. So I want you to go find Anthony on social media and give him a like there. I want you to go grab his brand new book that's coming out in January, get that pre-ordered, because, oh my gosh, he's going to tell you about all of the bonuses here in the podcast. And give this a listen. I hope that this is a blessing to you. Without further ado, here's Anthony. Anthony!
Yo,
I'm excited.
Man, I'm super excited too. Let me turn my phone on mute so it doesn't go loud. But man, I'm
you know
so
what?
excited.
My phone rang on my last recording, and I'm pretty casual around here. I'm now to the point where I'm like, don't even edit that out. It'll be fine. I'm so excited to have you here. Thank you for coming.
No, thank you, Jennifer, for having me. I've been waiting for this. It's been about a year, right?
Well, we've been talking about it for a hot minute because we met at Pete's Wellspring event where I tried to set you up with a friend of mine. And even though you guys did not end up, falling in love, dating, and getting married and all those things. And I have just learned I am just the worst matchmaker ever, Anthony.
No.
Yes, I am. I tried to set up these two people at church and because I didn't know they were cousins. And I was telling her, I'm like, you should totally go for so-and-so. And she's like, Jennifer, he's my cousin. And I just am going to stay out of people's dating lives at this point, but you never know because I have it's mostly women listening. I'll have 2 guys listening to the podcast. You never know. There may be somebody listening and she's going to slide into your DMs, but no, I'm super, super excited for you to be here. So, you are smart. Can I just say that? Because like 15 minutes ago, I did a little Instagram story saying I was getting ready to record a podcast with you and I tagged you on it. And instantly I get an autoresponder on Instagram and I'm like, wait a second, what's happening here? And so I got that autoresponder and I'm like, how did he set that up? I don't think that that's ManyChat. And yet I can't even from my end figure out what it is. And so I'm excited just to kind of dive into your brain just a little bit, if that's okay.
Yes,
and I don't think we don't have anything off of the table in terms of conversations, do we?
All right. Not at all.
Okay, so let's start with this. You just turned 40.
Yeah.
How's that feel, first of all?
Jen, it body-wise, I feel the same.
Right.
Mental-wise, I feel a shift, if that makes sense, in how I look at life. And I thought it was a joke when people say, yeah, when you turn 40, man, you're in your prime. Like you are, and I'm like, I'll be all right. I'm gonna be the same. And like, no, Jen, I'm thinking everything is all about legacy. Everything is all about future family. Everything is all about, if it don't make sense, it's just not going to be in my life. If you're not aligned, you're not going to be there. And so, but if I'm being transparent with which I know is a safe space with you, a part of me still feels alone because I'm still single. So, waking up every single day is like, I wake up to a dog.
Do you like the dog?
Love Raven. Wouldn't change her for the world. I honestly, here's a joke. It's not really a joke. It's the truth, but it is funny. I was dating someone and she said, yo, if we get married, you have to get rid of your dog.
I not a chance.
I got rid of her.
You know what? I don't like anybody's dogs but ours, but I'm obsessed with our dogs because I'm like their person, both of them.
Yeah,
And I love them. And now I know how people become dog people, but I'm only like my dog people. So I get it.
yeah.
And I get it about changing age. It's weird because I never used to understand why people would talk about like midlife crisis. I don't feel like I've had a midlife crisis, but I have had because I just turned 53. We both have birthdays in July.
Wow.
There's been some ages where, as the calendar has changed, like everything just kind of shifted in my brain. And which wasn't all good because sometimes the shift was, holy smokes, I didn't think this was where I would be at this age. I thought I would be somewhere else. Or I'm disappointed I'm not further along in this area of my life, or gosh, this doesn't look like what I thought it would be. So I want you to know I get that. I
Yeah,
get that. So you took a month-long sabbatical in July, didn't you?
I did.
Yeah, and I think so. I think I was listening to you. You and Sarah Jakes Roberts were talking. And I think that's when I first heard you were going to take a sabbatical for your birthday, which was the entire month. Okay, tell me about that. Like, do you always do that? Because when I read that on your social media, I read it on your Instagram, I felt a little bit of jealousy, if I'm being really honest, because I have, well, I've been on the internet. Somebody figured this out for me for 15 years.
Wow.
I don't know. You could count on your one hand the number of days on Facebook that I have gone without posting. I don't not post. It's a lot of content in 15 years.
Wow.
And so I know one time I took a 2 week break to finish writing my book, Fear's Not the Boss of You. I felt like the Lord said, go off for 2 weeks. And it was interesting, the rumors that abounded with me taking a 2 week break. And I'm like, really? Really? Someone said they heard I had like it doesn't matter, a weight loss operation. I'm like, okay, first of all, I may be chunky, but but I'm not going to do surgery. I mean, I've got 20 pounds to lose, and so it just was like, I can't even get off for 2 weeks without, feeling like people think a certain thing. And so when I read that you were going to be out for a whole month, there's this part of me that almost felt jealous because I'm like, it feels ballsy for you to do that. You have a huge following, especially on YouTube. And I thought, I wish that I had the guts to do that. And I don't even know how I would do that. So was this like a God thing or was this just a you wanted to thing?
No, I think it was it first started, it was a mental health thing.
That's good.
And
Yeah.
then it turned into that was God speaking to me through mental health.
Okay.
And then now it's a God and I want it.
Okay.
And it's so funny is I've been doing it since my previous job situation. I would take 2 weeks off every single year.
Yeah.
And then when I jumped out into my full-time entrepreneurship, I felt God tell me that you need the whole 30 days to unplug. And what I found was, Jen, was for me is I always compared myself to other people. I would see them doing things and winning things and on platforms and on shows and coming out with this stuff. And what I realized was I was never unplugging from the world and just plugging back into God and just plugging back into something fresh to give me fresh ideas, to rest my brain, to stop seeing things. And when I did that, man, I'll be honest with you, I don't really want to be on social media.
Same.
I
And the older
don't.
I get, the more it feels like weight.
Yes, it
Like I
does.
just don't want, it's heavy.
It is so heavy to the point to where I follow only about like 700, 800 people. But I told my team mute half of them. It is not that they're bad people. Like I
Yeah.
love them, but it's like I just the weight of seeing everyone else's life. It's like I just want to get on there and post inspirational stuff, serve my people, and get off.
Yeah.
And the sabbatical for me is more so for mental health. It is more so for my spiritual walk. And Jen, what a lot of people don't know is I shut down my whole company. So we have nine workers, five of them full time, four of them contractors or part time. And I tell all of them to take off too. And I tell them like, hey, go spend time with your family.
So for
Go,
July, they were off for a month.
no, not a month. No, I'm not that generous. No, hold
Okay, I was
on.
gonna say, dang.
No.
I come to work for you.
No. They get 2 weeks off,
Okay.
and I don't call them.
Good for you.
I don't bug them because I really want them as well, because here's the truth. Working for me I think is great, but it also comes with, I have a high level of execution.
Yeah.
So I want you to get away and rest your brain, enjoy it with your family, and it's paid time off, right?
Yeah.
And so for me, I've just noticed I'm healthier as a man, I'm healthier as a leader, and I'm just healthier, period, mentally, because I'm able just to step away. And I don't even look at my social media accounts. I get off. And when I went on my sabbatical, I did take my laptop, but I only checked my emails for an hour every single morning. After that, I went and enjoyed. Man, I was drinking wine. I was having cigars. I was on the beach, just enjoying life.
Yeah.
And it just felt so good.
I'm so happy for you. Was there any part of you that was nervous about it? Like, did
Absolutely.
you worry at all about going backwards? Because, I try to always tell the women that I'm coaching, there's two types of fear when you are in business. One is, what if I never reach a certain level of success? And the other is, what if I reach a certain level of success and I lose it all? And so, like, whenever I think about going off social media, I'm like, and what if we go backwards? What if I come back and the algorithm hates me? What
No,
if, and so was there any fear in taking a break?
absolutely. And let me be honest with you. I'm living in the fear, because now that I'm back, the algorithm is not in my favor.
I know, dang it.
Because it's like I took a whole 30 days off of not posting. So
Yeah.
now before leaving, I may have got 100,000 views on the reel. Now I'm getting maybe 10,000 on the reel. But I had to realize is, if I'm always going to be focused on serving others and never serving myself, I'm eventually going to burn out and have a dramatic experience. And everyone who I served from the audience, they're not gonna be there to help me out. And
Yeah.
so if that means I got to lose the algorithm for 30 to 60 days, I'm okay with that, because I care more about my mental health, my
Yeah.
company health, and my family. And one thing I am fearful of, Jen, to be honest, is I don't want to be a busy husband and a busy father.
Mhm.
I don't want to always be
Yeah.
chasing success. And I want to, when I find my wife,
Mhm.
and I want every Friday to be ours. I'm already preparing for that. So
Yeah.
my company, we don't work on Fridays. My
We don't,
staff,
we don't either.
they're off on Fridays, right? And so I'm like, Fridays, Saturdays, and Sundays, baby girl, it's yours. Like, where are we going for the weekend? What are we going to do?
You're about to be inundated with people wanting to apply for you. You know that,
Let
right?
them apply. They can
People are like,
apply.
wait, he gives them time off in the summer. He gives them no Fridays. Sign me up.
Hey, come on over.
But
We need all the help we can
I
get.
love that because there's really like, I think that having financial freedom is one thing, and you and I are both huge proponents of that. But if you don't
Mhm.
have time freedom to go along with the financial freedom, then you've got all this money in the bank and no time to go do anything with it. And so
Facts.
for me, it's got to be both and. I've got to have time freedom, financial freedom, and location freedom because I
Oh,
like to
that's
go.
good.
I like to
Yeah.
be out. I need to be, going different places. I want to be able to work from anywhere in the world and have the freedom to do that. So you've mentioned your mental health a couple of times, and I really would love to talk about that.
Yeah.
You are a huge proponent of therapy. Am I correct? And has it
Huge.
always been this way?
No, it wasn't.
Okay, because I think
I
most
thought
people are going
mental
to look
health
at
was
you.
for crazy people.
Yeah, and they're going to say, okay, he has an incredible business, a huge following, makes a ton of money. They see all of this and they might be thinking, why is he going to therapy? What does he need therapy for? So I'm just really, and maybe people don't think that, but I just love that you're talking about it. And
Yeah.
so, how long have you been going?
I'm 40 now. I broke up with my ex-fiance at 31. So consistently about 5, 6 years.
Okay, same one, same counselor.
No. So I had one in Nashville when I was living and working in Nashville,
Okay,
and then I just recently transferred over because I live in the DMV area now,
yeah.
and I personally want someone I can go into and see, and so I had to
Okay.
transfer with that.
Versus Zoom or something. Okay. And so, do you only go as a believer? Do you only go to a Christian counselor? I'm just being nosy.
No, I honestly, my first therapist was a Christian believer. Now I go to a therapist who's just mental. She doesn't really bring up the spiritual angle of things.
Okay.
Um, and so
That's an
for me,
interesting distinction.
yes,
Yeah.
I want you to help me with my brain.
Yeah.
I got enough God in me and I know God. and I got enough people around me who know God to where I can go to them from a spiritual angle. But I really want you to help me think better, process better, teach me more about how the brain works.
That's good.
And it's been a great process. But I'll tell you, I was not a fan of therapy. I thought people who went to therapy was crazy,
Or
but
broken.
they are broken. But they're right. I had a little crazy in me, and I was broken.
Are you a super intense person? I feel
Very,
that's yeah. Yeah, I
very,
can
very
about
much so.
so, yeah.
Very,
So,
very much so.
so I'm married to a super intense person. So there's just a whole lot that goes with that. Because whatever emotion you're feeling it like magnified. It's like to the 10th degree. So,
Facts.
so I love that you talk about therapy. So how has that like played a role for you, especially in big seasons? Because you've made some huge changes, in the last, well, when did you leave Ramsey Corporation? I
4 years
mean,
ago. three
okay.
years ago
So
now. 3 years. I'm sorry, 3 years ago.
okay, so how was like therapy? Were they a huge support during that time? Huge transition periods? Has it been
Yeah.
a game changer for you?
Yes, absolutely. So therapy was a huge game changer for pretty much 3 seasons of my life. The first season was what a lot of people don't know was I was engaged at my first beginning part of my previous season with Ramsey.
Hmm.
And then that ended. And I went down, but I still had to maintain this public image. And I went down emotionally because I was like, yo, I just lost my fiance.
Hmm.
And so I made some bad decisions during that time. And it wasn't until like my parents called me out in private, like, yo, you need to go see help before this becomes an issue that can cause some other issues in your life.
Hmm.
So I said, all right, cool. So I went to therapy and I was fighting it because no one in my community or no one in
Yeah.
my family has ever been to a therapist. So I'm
Interesting.
like, well, I think it's for crazy people. So when I went to therapy, it was so good because if I'm being transparent and honest, I went from losing my fiance.
Hmm.
I went from an all black culture to an all white culture.
Okay.
And that was two huge culture shocks to me.
Yeah.
And so therapy really helped me to process my feelings and process my thoughts. Then I leave Nashville, Tennessee, and that amazing organization, and I'm starting my own business.
Hmm.
Now I'm feeling like, okay, can I do this? Will I be successful? Did I make the right
Yeah.
decision? And therapy was a huge help from there. And then recently in this season of my life is I got to lead people. And
Yeah.
I can't lead people out of emotions. I can't lead people out of feelings.
Hmm.
Um,
Yeah.
and I've had to learn how to lead a team of, 9 totally different individuals, and I have an amazing team, but I've learned that the team is not going to become better if I don't know how to lead them better.
Right.
And so I've never had to lead that many people. And so therapy has really taught me how to deal with becoming a better leader. Why do I feel a certain kind of way? And if I'm being honest, my team will see this eventually, but I will find myself getting upset at my team. And my therapist asked me one question. He said, well, why are you upset with them?
Hmm.
And when she started asking me that question, I realized it's not that I was upset with them. I was upset with me.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, so it wasn't their fault.
Right.
No, I never taught them. Like I never led them correctly to understand certain
Yeah.
things. So it wasn't their fault. And
Yeah.
so now therapy for me is more so about that. And I'll just be honest, I even got things going on in our family right now. And,
Sure.
and, and I think for me, what I want people to know about therapy is we all have something going on in our brains. And I'm fearful that I'll make the wrong decision with this brain. And so I go to therapy to make sure I don't make the wrong
Yeah.
decision and I make the right one.
Yeah. I love that. Plus, you are positioning yourself so well for marriage,
Mm.
children, everything by doing a lot of the work
Yeah.
prior. Not that there won't be work needed during, but um, I've been married almost 27 years to the same.
27 years. I didn't know that, Jen.
Yeah, long time.
Wow.
I know. I love him.
Congrats.
I'm obsessed with that man, but he's a hot mess. And so, as am I, right?
Yeah, yeah.
But our first year of marriage was absolute hell. I mean, everybody that we knew said, "You guys just need to throw in the towel," because I mean, we loved each other, but we both came from divorced households. We both came from
Mm.
parents with bankruptcy. We both came from, I mean, just alcoholism. So then we had no real good examples of what a healthy marriage should look like. And so we took a little break about a year in while we tried to decide, are we gonna just split here? Because it wasn't just like one thing happened in the marriage. It was like rapid fire, four things in a few day period. And we're like, okay, time out here.
Yeah.
We don't have kids. Do we keep going or do we call it quits now? And we decided, I mean, again, I just adore this man and this man adores me. And we decided though, I said the deal breakers for me are we have to go to marriage counseling together and you have to go to church or I'm out. Thank you, Jesus. Because I was saved and he wasn't. And I've been saved since I was 16. And at the time, then we were 29, 28, 29. So anyway, marriage counseling therapy saved our marriage. And what was interesting is we only did like 1 or 2 sessions together and then we did a whole bunch separate.
Wow.
And then we did 1 or 2 back at the end of that, season. And it saved our marriage. Like Jason and I joked for years and it wasn't a Christian counselor, but we owed that man a Christmas card for like decades because it really did that. And, him going to church and getting saved is what saved our marriage. So there's probably a bunch of women listening right now who are like, okay, how can I convince my husband to go to marriage counseling or to go see a therapist? Any thoughts or advice for that? Because I think often, and let me give you a good example. I'll have some women that come into my coaching and they're on fire for their business. They're, ready to go, but maybe they have a really unsupportive spouse or something. And they know that they probably need to get some marriage help. They wish that he supported them differently. They maybe can see why he doesn't or where that's coming from, but they can't get him to go to a therapist. Any advice for that? And I don't know if that's I don't know. What advice would you have?
For me, when it comes to men, right? I think don't suggest a therapist. Tell him to get around other men.
Okay.
Because one thing I've learned is when men come into my circle, their guards tend to go down.
Okay.
And when their guards go down, in my circle, we're always promoting therapy. Like we're very vocal about like, hey man, I got to hit y'all back. I'm about to walk into my therapy session. And that happened literally. Young guy, 32 years old, just got into our golf group. And he was at the round table. We're on our conference call that we do.
Now you call this a golf group. What do you mean? A bunch of you that go out golfing together?
Yes. Yeah. So we have it. Think of it like a small group, right? But it's Christian men who love golf. And so we'll meet up and go golf over this state or this area. But every single week we'll get together and we'll pray.
Yeah.
And we'll just talk about life. Yeah. And so on one time I said, hey, y'all, I got to end this early. I'm about to walk into my therapy session. Later on that night, about 8:00 at night, I get a text. He was like, hey, Ayo, can I holler at you about something real quick? I said, yeah, what's up? Can I call you? I was like, yeah, sure, call me. He called me and was like, bro, you go to therapy? I was like, absolutely. Because I mean, my wife has been like asking us, can we go to therapy? But I always told her, I was like, I'm not sick. And he was like, yeah, can I ask a transparent question? I was like, what's up? What's good? And before he even asked me the question, I said, I am. I said, there is a little sickness in me because I don't want to feel like I'm perfect. And I told him that up front, like, I want to catch anything that can turn into a cold, that can turn into an illness. And so I automatically program my mind that there is a little something in me that I need to fix before it turns into something major that I need to address. Yeah. And my therapist said something to me a while back, and my good friend said this to me a while back. He said, man, just like going to a doctor, it's better to go and catch something and you take a pill than going to the doctor late and you got to have surgery.
Absolutely. And I've heard, like our pastor has said before, like, if you come to me with a $10 problem, we can solve that. You wait too long, it's a, $10,000 problem. That's harder. Or I've heard people say like the cost of therapy is so much less expensive than the cost of a divorce attorney.
What?
I mean, right? I mean, those are, and that is
facts.
That is facts.
It's facts. I mean, and what a lot of people don't know that if you got a W-2 job, like here, I refund 1 session a month to my staff because I want them to see therapy. Some people in your insurance policy, they will cover up to 2 sessions a month. Yeah. You got to do the research to see, because I hear some people complain about the cost of therapy. And I'm like, no, you can figure out the cost. Like you got so many different people, and we're on your show, and I won't name drop anyone's, but there's so many different ones out there that are affordable that you can get into to start that process.
I love that. So I think it's impossible to talk to you without, just bringing up the fact that you did leave working for Dave Ramsey and the Ramsey Corporation.
Yeah.
We have a ton of our listeners right now who are currently working on a 9 to 5, but they have started this side gig on the side, or they're terrified to leave their 9 to 5. They're worried about giving up that perceived stability, or security of a 9 to 5. Can you talk to that just a little bit? Like, how nervous were you about making that decision?
I watched the interview you did with Christy, and there's such a great interview you did with Christy. I think for me, if I'm being transparent, I was nervous as you fill in the blank.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
I was like, okay,
Maximum.
wait, what?
Mhm.
Right.
Yeah. What are you doing?
Like
Yeah.
what great guy,
Right.
great company.
Mhm.
Um,
Everybody probably thought you were nuts.
no, I had people tell me I was gonna fail, that I was crazy to leave this dream job.
Yeah.
And if I'm being honest, the first 3 days when I did leave, I stayed in the bed.
Mhm.
But God clearly gave me that assignment.
Yeah.
He clearly told me what to do. And he clearly told Ramsey and them too. It was a mutual agreement because we both just realized that Anthony's assignment is not aligned with Ramsey's assignment, which doesn't make Ramsey's assignment less
Or
bad or
bad. Yeah.
Anthony's
That's
less
good.
bad. It's just that
Yeah.
we weren't
Yeah.
aligned going into the next season of my life. And it was such a smooth transition. But I have to be honest, it was nervous and it was difficult because the security there,
Yes.
and the guarantee there.
Mm-hmm.
But God told me the same way I gave them security and a guarantee, I'm gonna give you security and guarantee. And my company hasn't skipped a beat. We
Right.
haven't made less money in the last 3 years. Better yet, we've made more money.
Yeah.
Started off with just one employee being me, to where now we have 5 full-time W-2 employees
Right.
to for extra, and we need more, right? And
Mhm.
so I want to encourage anyone that my prayer for God in this season of my life is to, God, give me more wisdom and knowledge
Mhm.
so that I may govern the people who you've given me to help with this vision properly. I can
Yeah.
lead them properly, but then also I can steward the lives that you send to me via my YouTube channel, my
Yeah.
platform, and I can say the right things. And
Yeah.
what I love about that is I'm not asking God for $5 million. I'm not asking God for, 1 million followers. I'm not asking for that. I'm saying, God, just give me the correct things to say. Give me the wisdom and knowledge that I can do the very best that I can. And what I love about it is when I make a mistake that goes viral, God is still giving me wisdom and knowledge because I'm not
Yes.
asking for fame. I'm not asking for $1 million. I'm
Yeah.
saying, God, I just want to do what you've called to do well. And I think that's why God has blessed this company. That's why God has sent me amazing team members, because I genuinely care about people and I genuinely want to help people just as much as, Dave Ramsey does.
Yes.
And
Yeah.
and it's been a breath of fresh air. And even them supporting. We just had George Campbell on the show. It's been a great transition. I don't
Yeah.
regret leaving, but I love that place and I love where God has me now.
Yeah. I love that too. You've got a book coming out soon.
I do.
All
It's
right.
my
When's the
third book.
launch date? Is there an exact date?
So the book comes out January 14th. They
Okay.
can pre-order it today. It's called Take Your Seat at the Table.
Okay. Who's
How
it for? Tell me who
uh,
it's for.
This is for that individual who wants to live an authentic life. This is for the individual who feels as if they don't have control over their life. Maybe their 9 to 5 has control over their life. Maybe
Okay.
bill collectors have control over their life. Maybe spouses have control over their life. Maybe social media or society have control over
Yeah.
their life. Because for a while, Jen, if I'm being honest, I didn't feel like I was sitting at the head of my life. I felt like I always had to ask permission to someone
Mhm.
else to do
Mhm.
something inside of my life.
Yeah.
And I was like, I'm tired of that. And when I changed it, my life changed. And I know there's a lot of people who are saying, yo, I'm tired of feeling like I can't do what I need to do and want to do in my life.
Okay.
And so I wrote this book to help that individual take control of their life.
Okay. The name again is Take Your
Take your
Place.
seat at the table.
Take Your Seat at the Table. And where are you doing the pre-orders?
You can go to anthonyoneal.com/book.
Okay.
And if you pre-order it today, we're going to give you about $2,000 worth of bonuses. And the very first one is money. A lot of people don't know how to invest. So I sat down with my financial advisor and we did an 8-hour course teaching you how to build a 7-figure portfolio. And we made it 100% free. So if you pre-order the book, you get the book January 14th, but today we're going to send you that course 100% free. And we got a lot of other surprises coming out between now and January that I
That
can't
is
say,
awesome.
but I'm
That is
excited about it.
that is amazing. Okay. I want to be really cognizant of the time here, but can I do a couple rapid fire questions?
Let's go. Take your time. Yes,
All right,
ma'am.
let's see how you do on these, okay? All right.
Okay.
Random questions. What can you spend hours doing?
Golfing.
My husband
Easy.
as well. Yes. What's the weirdest thing you own?
The weirdest thing I own.
Oh, right.
That is weird.
I
The
know.
weirdest
Like,
thing that's a good question. I've never thought about. I
and I
never
can go to
thought.
the next one.
Yeah, go to. I never thought
We can
about
go to the
that.
next one. Okay. What was your last big splurge?
Oh, Italy. I did the
Italy.
Ritz-Carlton cruise.
Yes. And before that, I saw you put a pool in your backyard.
I sure did. I sure did.
Amazing.
Yes.
Amazing. What book is currently on your nightstand?
Book on my nightstand. Woman Evolved by Sarah Jakes.
Oh, I love her so much.
Yeah.
I
She
got a
taught me how
picture
to.
right here of a picture of me and Sarah. I'll show you. I got a
Yeah.
picture of me and Teray as well. Because
Oh yeah.
yep,
Oh
there
yeah.
you
Love
have
it.
it.
Yeah.
Love that woman. She did a little
Yeah.
thing for my book, which I appreciated so much. So love that. Okay, give me one thing you can't live without.
God.
Amen to that. And
Yes.
one thing you're surprisingly good at.
Singing and playing the piano.
Really, I never would have guessed that for real.
Yep.
That's
Grew up
fun.
singing. Yeah. It's a lot of people don't know that. But my wife will, because hopefully I can serenade her and we can make some children.
That's awesome. I have loved having you on here. Thank you so, so much. There are going to be people that want to come to work for you for real, but no, I'm kidding, but they will for real. But where do you want them to find you on the internet? You mostly play on Instagram, am I right? Or
Yeah,
YouTube?
it's
Where
YouTube
can
or
they
Instagram.
comment, DM you?
Yeah, I mean, I would say definitely go to anthonyoneal.com to start because there's so many resources and you have links to all of my platforms on there. But I would rather help you get out of that, build wealth, and really get on track with a life that God has for you. And the best place to do that is going to start at Anthony O'Neill, and it will take you to a journey to Atlanta, YouTube, podcast, LinkedIn, TikTok, you name it. But start at anthonyoneal.com.
Awesome. Thank you. All right. So one last question here. Would you be willing to pray over the listeners today? God has given you great favor in the area of business, in the area of stewardship, in the area of finances,
Yeah.
and in the area of faith, I think. And so we have a lot of listeners who could really use all of those things. So would you just pray over the listeners real quick? I think this is only the second time I've ever asked a guest to pray. So if you would do that, I'd
Sure
love that.
thing. I'll
Thank
be
you.
honored.
Awesome.
Dear Heavenly Father God, we thank you for this time to come together and have a refreshing conversation about mental health, about dreams, about transitions. And God, I think that there are some people right now who are maybe fearful of transitions. They're fearful of admitting that, hey, I need to go see a therapist. They're fearful of the response they may get from people. But God, I just want you to convict them and give them wisdom and knowledge and reveal to them that hey, the breeding ground for success in the end is admitting what you need to do up front. That the caliber of their decisions today will impact the quality of their life tomorrow. And so, God, I'm just asking God that you reveal and convict and show and provide clarity to anyone listening in any areas of their life. And God, I'm thanking you in advance already for the $1 million business that's starting, the transition of leaving their 9 to 5 and going back and pursuing the vision that you've given them. But God, I'm also praying for that person who's thinking about leaving their job and you told them no, they're not supposed to leave their job. And they're supposed to be a entrepreneur on their job and partner with that particular company because not everyone's called to be an entrepreneur. So God, I'm just thanking you in advance for everything you're doing. Thank you for my dear friend, Jennifer, and her platform and her message, God. Continue to enlarge her territory because her message, her podcast is needed and is saving lives, God. God, I thank you for her husband. This is a selfish prayer. Please allow us to play golf together one day. God, we love you. Amen and amen.
Amen. Anthony, thank you. You're a gem. Bless you. Thank you for being here. Friends, go find his book. Go to anthonyoneal.com, connect with him on Instagram, go grab the book, get all the bonuses. I'm excited about your book. I cannot wait to get it myself. I hope that it goes to every single hand that it's supposed to. So we'll talk soon. All right. Bye-bye.
Thank you.
All right. I got you out of here with 1 minute to spare.